Rendered images are a great way to showcase and highlight some of your best work. In this tutorial, we will cover how to transfer Revit files into 3ds Max, add lighting, add backgrounds, and cameras so you can create a great rendered image.
The first step is to open the Revit file you want to transfer to 3ds Max. Here I have one of my old projects I'll be using for the demonstration. Once your project has opened in Revit, you can then click on the Files tab in the top left corner. In the drop-down, select Export and then choose the FBX option. This is the file type used for 3ds Max. Choose a place to save this file so you can later open it in 3ds Max. Once done, you can now close Revit and open up 3ds Max. In 3ds Max, go to the top left corner and select the 3 Max button. Next, in the drop-down, click Import and find your file. When opened, a pop-up will appear. Click OK. After that, a warning will appear. This is just telling us that the 3D view option in Revit is not available in 3ds Max. You can just simply close this. So if we went straight into trying to render this house, it will turn out black since there is no artificial or natural lighting. To solve this, go to the right hand side toolbar and click on the far right option with the 2 gears on it. In here, under Object Type, there is a Daylight button. Select this. Your mouse will now turn into a crosshair. Click on the center of your project and drag out. Make sure your whole project is in the star shape created. Without clicking again, slowly drag upwards, a sun will appear. Move it to the height you would like. So now you have a sun and an area it will shine on. But what happens if you don't like its position? To change where the sun points, to help in creating different shadows, select the manual option right under Control Parameters in the right hand side toolbar. This allows you to freely move the sun. Right click next to your sun. The X, Y and Z arrows will appear just below it. You can now move the sun by clicking and dragging on the arrow in the direction you want your sun to go. This can help you customize your lighting options and the shadows it casts in your project. Now that your sun is positioned correctly, you can add a still background to provide greater detail to your final rendered image. To do this, click on the Rendering tab at the top of the screen. In the drop-down, select Environment. In this new pop-up, select the Environment Map tab that is under the Background section of this pop-up. In the new pop-up, Material / Map Browser, click on the General tab at the top of the box. Then underneath this, click the Bitmap tab, which is below. This will redirect you to your files where you can select an image you have saved off the internet you want to use for your background. I've already done this, so I will use one of mine. Is the sky image. When you open this image into your file, nothing will change on your screen, but when you go to render your project, the background will appear in your finished rendered image. Now that you've added your project, some lighting and a still background, it's time to add cameras to do your rendered images. To add cameras to your project, you need to go to the same right hand side toolbar as before. There is a camera icon in the second row from the top. Click on this. Under Object Type, there are 3 types of cameras you can select. Each option is very similar, but I find the target camera the easiest to use. To place the camera, you left click on the screen where you want the camera to be placed. It does not matter where at this point. You then drag a small box to the area you want it to face. This is its target. The camera will move around this target and always keep looking at it. You release the left click to end this process. You then right click next to the camera to bring up the same X, Y and Z arrows. You can use these to move the position of the camera. This can be a bit tricky to get it in the right spot, but by using different viewpoints, you'll be able to get it where you want it to be. So this is where I want my camera to be positioned, and you can double check where it's viewing by looking at the large square. This is where the camera looks at and what it will render when you finally create your final rendered image.
To now render from the camera we have created, you again need to select the rendering tab at the top of the screen. In the drop-down, select Render in Cloud. It's second from the top. You need to make sure you have an Autodesk account before you can render in the cloud. A pop-up will appear in the center of your screen where you can now change the settings for your rendered image. Near the center of this pop-up, there will be a tab that says No Camera Selected. Click on this and then select Camera 001. This is the view from the camera we've created earlier, and we'll use the camera's view to render from. Underneath this, there are the render settings. Render quality and image size affect how good your image will look. Better the render quality and larger the image size, the better the final image. You can adjust these as you like. You can then click Render in the top right corner. When you click Render, it will redirect you to your Autodesk gallery where you can see your final finished render. Your Autodesk gallery will look like this, where you'll be able to go into all your renders you've created and view them in more detail.